And joining us now here on Locked on Buckeyes, it is your boy Q, the host of Locked on Raiders. Q, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm blessed. I appreciate you having me on the show today, my man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem at all. Continuing our Buckeye road trip around the NFL. We were just in Indianapolis. Now we're going all the way to Vegas, hitting a long-time player, 9 years in the NFL. Been with the Raiders since 2018, Jonathan Hankins. How have you assessed his tenure in Oakland, Vegas so far?
You know, it's funny. He's probably one of the guys that's least talked about, but he's very important. He's a very critical piece to that Raiders defensive line, which has underachieved for the past few years. I feel like they're turning the corner so far in training camp. It looks like it. But Jonathan Hankins is the one guy they never talk about. But, man, he's such a key part, and he's a really good player. And everyone really, when you ask about him, and he met with the media the other day, and he was just like, yeah, this guy is on the team. He's a really good player, and he just seems to get overlooked a lot. I guess it's kind of similar to a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman. If you're not talking about him, it's okay because I'm telling you, he's a guy that plays a huge role on this Raiders defense. So, yeah, Jonathan Hankins, man, he's just done everything he's supposed to do since signing on with the Raiders. And if the team's going to make that turn defensively this year, he's going to play a major factor.
Not sure how you overlook or don't talk about a guy that stands 6'3", 240, or 6'3", 340, excuse me.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing. Like I don't know how you overlook the guy, but you talk about the edge rushers, you talk about linebackers, you talk about corners and safeties, but a lot of times the guy in the middle, the dude plugging up the holes who might not get the statistical numbers is the guy who gets overlooked, Jonathan Hankins. But he plays such a major role, and again, he's going to be a key cog in this Raiders defense if they're going to turn the corner this year. They have Yannick Ngakoue on one edge. They have Max Crosby coming off the other edge. For that to work, for that pocket to get collapsed, it's going to take the big man in the middle. Jonathan Hankins is going to have a lot on his shoulders this year.
What are a few aspects of his role for this defense?
Well, I mean, he's got to collapse the pocket. He's got to make it so there's no lane, there's no pocket for Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, or whoever Denver rolls out there. But those guys in particular, Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, those guys can climb the pocket in a major way and deliver the ball. He's got to be there. He's got to take on double teams. He's got to be the guy that can suck those double teams in and allow a Yannick Ngakoue, a Max Crosby, a Cleve Ferrell to be able to get loose and get to the quarterback. So, I mean, again, he's not going to wow you by stats, but he's going to wow you by what he does each and every play. And, again, he's been one of the most overlooked guys, but, man, he's a critical piece of this defense.
If you're an opposing offense, you're looking at Jonathan Hankins, how do you go about trying to exploit some of his weaknesses so you can move the ball?
Well, I mean, you just have to try to lock him up in a great block. I mean, that really is the thing about Hankins that I notice is he's got that motor. You know, you can have him blocked at one level, and then all of a sudden he's gonna keep fighting. He's gonna hit you with another move. Being there at training camp the past few weeks, seeing how he kind of navigates, and I'll tell you this: Gerald McCoy has been added to the roster, and he's an old wily veteran. Even though Jonathan Hankins has been in the league as long as he has, he's been picking up some tools and some tricks from Gerald McCoy as well. So I really feel like he's going to have a little bit more, not want to, but just kind of knowledge of the position and even how to diagnose a play before it happens, before the snap of the ball. So I just think that locking him up in is the best blocks that they can do. That's what they really need to do. But I mean, his motor just doesn't quit, so he just keeps going and going. And that's the thing about him, man. And so as long as the Raiders can find a way to kind of spell him and give him some breathers here and there, he'll be fine and he'll be a dominant force.
You're sitting here saying he keeps going and going and going, and in my head, I'm thinking about the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah,
that bad boy just keeps going and going and going.
Yes, that's exactly what he reminds me of. Like I said, being there the last few weeks up close and personal and being able to observe, and I've really been paying attention to the defense because, well, that's the Achilles heel of the Raiders is the defense. So, just seeing all these guys and how they're kind of putting it all together and trying to form this team, trying to find the best 53 men for the roster. There's no doubt about it. Jonathan Hankins is one of them, and he's a guy. Again, it's so funny that he's a guy that gets overlooked all the time. Even when we met with him in the media session, it was like, okay, here's Jonathan Hankins, and then we asked him about 5 or 6 questions. It's like, all right, thanks. I mean, it's so funny that a guy that critical to the success of the defense could really get overlooked and not really be a factor as far as somebody that we even want to talk to. But he just is that guy. He's just so important to the success of the team.
Overall, last question for you, Q. Overall outlook on the entire season, adding one game to the season, 17 games this year. What are your expectations, pluses, minuses? breakout, I'd say breakout, playing better than he already has, types of expectations for Hankins this year?
I just maybe think getting to the quarterback a couple more times than he'll average, 1-2 sacks, but quarterback pressures, that the sacks numbers really don't matter, but the pressures, being able to collapse that pocket, like I mentioned, being able to take on that double team. This year it's going to be very critical that he plays that role and does it in a major way. Like I said, Unique Ngakoue coming over as a free agent. Their expectations are double-digit sacks for him, double-digit sacks for Max Crosby. For that to happen, Hankins has got to play a big role. So I just think he's just got to play strong like he always does, continue to have that motor that keeps running like he does, and just help that out the exterior of the defensive line by being a dominant force on the interior. So I think him and Gerald McCoy are going to really be a tag team that's going to be a tough out for opposing offensive lines.
I believe so as well. Big man in the middle. Big man dominates a lot of space.
Yeah.
Q, I'm happy you're here to talk about this. If you could let everyone know where they can catch you on Twitter and where they can listen to your show as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. You can find the Locked On Raiders podcast anywhere you can get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. I mean, you could always look up Locked On Raiders podcast. It's somewhere. But also check me out on Twitter at your boy Q254, and that's where the link to my podcast is every single day. It's usually up by about 12:15 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. So as soon as you wake up, no matter what time you wake up, the show's always available for you.
Q, this has been fun. One Raider down. 2 more to go. Continuing our Buckeye road trip around the NFL. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for being on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, my man.